Kia ora.
Welcome back to Video Drones. I'm Hannah Hutt.
I'm Nick Hart.
And if it's your first time here, g'day, how's it going, mate? Struth, it's good to see you. I'm leaning into the Australian Kiwi kind of friction that somewhat exists within our cultures, because today we are reviewing Speak No Evil, which is based on, it's all kind of around a Danish and a Dutch couple who meet and they start to encounter some perhaps cultural differences.
They've been selling this film on IMDb with nationalist sort of politics in a way. Like, it's the synopsis says a Danish family visits a Dutch family. They met on a holiday. What was supposed to be an idyllic weekend slowly starts unraveling as the Danes try to stay polite in the face of unpleasantness. So it's a sort of a war in a way, seemingly against these two cultures. And yeah, it was interesting. I don't know, like, it was interesting that they said that, because I kind of forgot about that after we started watching it. There were so many other things that started happening that sort of overtook the fact that they were from these two different places.
Yeah, for me I thought it was quite, I'm not going to give any spoilers at this point. I'm going to leave it, but I'm going to give everyone a good heads up. This review, for the most part, is going to be for people who haven't seen it, but we will do a big chunk at the end which has got spoilers. But yeah, for me, it was very much like the things that were happening, the interactions between the couples. I was like, why? A lot of people have asked why the couple. So, sorry, reverse rewind, go back. So we've got Bjorn and Louise, who have a daughter called Agnes. Now, they're Danish, right? They're Danes. The Dutch couple are Patrick and Karen, and they have a son called Abel. There's something not so right with Abel, and you find out what's not so right about poor little Abel. Very good child acting, by the way. In fact, just great acting all around.
Yeah.
And I think I've been doing some research online, and there's not a heck of a lot about the kind of I don't know if it's like a friendly kind of friction between the countries or not so friendly. Like in New Zealand, I personally have no problem with Australians. Like, they seem to be more kind of outspoken, more kind of brash, more laid back. I don't see anything wrong with that. When I've been to Australia, everyone has always been really friendly and really helpful and welcoming, which you don't necessarily get with Kiwis. We're quite reserved.
I've been going through a bit of an Aussie sort of phase recently, watching Blonde and also investigating Nick Cave, who I never have liked really, but now I kind of like his last two albums. So I'm a bit in Aussie land at the moment.
Yeah, I personally don't have any kind of grief with Aussies, but a lot of Kiwis do, and especially when it comes to like sporting events.
Definitely, it's sort of with rugby, stuff like that, really.
And also, I think a lot of Kiwis are kind of a bit more quiet, a bit more kind of like, there's this whole tall poppy syndrome happening in New Zealand. So yeah, there's some differences there, but personally, I like Aussies. I'm brash, I'm outspoken, so we get along just fine. But what I've met lots of cool Aussies over there on tour with bands and stuff. They're always really lovely. I know, right? I've never had like a negative interaction with an Aussie person, but lots of Kiwis.
I've met some weird ones, but they're not like bad people or anything.
Weird's not bad. Weird's good.
No.
So I found a few things online about this whole Danish-Dutch thing. Some people, it does seem to be people are kind of reluctant to talk about it, but what I did get at is that, and this is all quotes that I found online, Danes are much more polite / respectful than the Dutch, apparently. The big cultural difference is how the Danes value their rules, as in traffic rules, but also social rules, but the Dutch much less. What fits with my own experience is the observation that Danish people are a bit less hasty and maybe a bit politer than the average Dutch person. Personally, I found Dutch people to be more open to contact with strangers and more blunt than Danish people. And this one's really good. The main difference I noticed is captured in a metaphor shared by one of my Danish professors. The Danes are like a bottle of Heinz ketchup. You are hitting it and shaking it and nothing at all is coming out. Then all of a sudden you have a plate full of ketchup. More ketchup than you wanted, ketchup that you wish you could put back in the bottle. The Danes are super reserved at first, but once they open up, they are incredibly open. You learn about their weird family history and their deepest secrets. And we do have a scene in the film where that bottle on the ketchup kind of explodes between the two fathers. it is great. The scene, actually, I really like this scene. They're sort of screaming, I think, at the ocean. There's a quarry, there's an ocean. They look kind of similar, so it's confusing, but I'm pretty sure they're screaming at an ocean. And that's that sort of moment where this cathartic sort of thing happens. And you do see this painfully reserved father that just can't express himself, that can't speak his mind, and he lets it all loose. So yeah, I'm thinking maybe that's kind of what it's referring to. And also, apparently, the Dutch are quite happy to share all their thoughts and opinions with you, and boy, do they have strong opinions, ones that aren't wrapped in flowery diplomacy, ones that are, of course, right always. So, I'm getting the feeling that one of the major cultural differences is, yeah, the Dutch aren't as reserved, they're more straightforward, they're very forthright with their opinions, they think that they're right, and the Danish do appear to be more reserved, but more careful maybe with what they say.
I think Paul Verhoeven might be Dutch, actually, which kind of makes sense.
Actually, it totally makes sense. Personally, I've had lots of really, really unpleasant run-ins with Dutch people, but I'm not going to judge an entire nation.
You do off camera, but yeah.
Boy, no, not for the whole nation. Like, I haven't met every Dutch person.
You always say, Dutch people are horrible.
I didn't say that.
Something like that.
All the Dutch people I have met have been... I've had a bad run with Dutch people, just, really, really, really bad, like traumatic, bad stuff.
Well, I can see why that would give you a bad, view of them.
Yeah, not the greatest. But, also, I haven't been to Holland. I haven't met Dutch people en masse, so I'm not going to judge based on, like,
I'm sure there are nice ones.
I'm sure there are. I mean, they're pretty laid back about cannabis and stuff, so that's good.
There's a lot more happening, as we find out in this film, just than the nationalist politics of the synopsis. I think it's a lot of things unravel and become apparent as you're watching this film, and it's kind of very eye-opening. I found it a bit like a film that's not particularly a horror, but more of like a true horror, like a film like The Piano Teacher. It's something really eye-opening.
Funny Games is another film.
Yeah, a little bit like that. Michael Haneke, all of his films are a bit like that, actually.
Yeah. It's not really a spoiler, but like this film is like, people are like, where's the horror? Where's the horror? Don't worry, you'll get the horror. Just chill. If you can't be patient and like work with a film that's kind of, I guess, being a lot more kind of clever and patient, and
there's a lot that they couldn't give away in the film, in the trailer, and I mean,
I'm glad they didn't. I'd hate the.
I know. I'm glad they didn't, but we could have seen this on the big screen at the film festival, and because of the trailer, we didn't go to it, and we ended up seeing that other one that I've even forgotten, Family Dinner. It's not good, and that was awful. I wish we'd seen that instead.
Well, then again, like, to be honest, if as much as I wish we'd seen this film on the big screen, seeing this in a public setting. But it
would have been interesting to see what other people thought of it. Everyone would have sighed at the end, I reckon, because I think it was even one of those films that maybe doesn't have music right away at the end credits. So they purposely want you to like have a minute to yourself.
Our dear friend Elise said that she had the 1,000-yard stare afterwards, and yeah, that's pretty much how you describe it. So as much as this seems like maybe it's just some family drama and it's kind of like, pretty chill, yeah, if you can't handle something really, really fucked up.
Yeah, we watch a lot of horror, so
a lot of horror.
To have an effect on us, like, it was quite a lot.
It's not easy. The innocence really got to me.
This got to me more than The Innocents, though.
Yeah, which is saying a lot, really.
Yeah. I love this film, and I'm not saying it's bad at all. I'm very pleased it was made. I'm kind of shocked that a film like this could get made. And
true. Yeah.
The director is an actor. He's very he's probably quite well known in Denmark, where he acts, pardon me, on lots of television. And he's been in over 40.
So he's Danish. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, he's having a bit of a go at the Dutch.
In interviews, I've watched interviews with him, and he kind of, I think he's having a go at himself a bit too, for how saying that he would be a bit like that in that predicament. And he actually said that it was based on something that happened to him. Like, I think him and his wife or partner were on holiday and were invited to go and visit someone, and they didn't do it either. So that's how it started. I'm pretty sure that's the story.
Oh, wow.
I mean, nothing else happened, but yeah, and he wrote this.
But it could have happened.
Could have happened. So yeah, in his mind, he was thinking what could have happened, and he actually wrote this screenplay with his brother. I think it's the first thing that they've collaborated on, but it's the third film he's directed. And apparently all of his films, he likes them to be a little bit dark and surreal, maybe, or I don't know. Yeah,
the writing is top tier, the acting is top tier. So it's just I really do think for a lot of people it's going to be way too intense. Yeah,
it's interesting reading the comments online. The people who have seen this, they're just really angry about the fact that the parents seemingly don't do anything when they're put in these really situations where you usually you'd have to act because your children are involved or things like that, and all these angry parents are like saying, I wouldn't do that, I'd never let that happen to my kid.
Yeah, but the sort of people that would go to this house in the first place and not leave immediately are not the sort of people who would fight back. So, like, come on.
Yeah.
Like,
it's a film as well.
It's a film, but I do think, like, a lot of people, well, I think Kiwis might even be a bit. I
can
imagine some Kiwis or just some people
You'd get to a point, definitely.
I think a lot of people are just kind of like, well, but from the get-go, when they meet this couple, they're all on holidays. Beautiful setting. I think it's Italy. It's just gorgeous. Everyone's getting along.
There's beautiful operatic music.
And it's just like they have this sort of connection over the music. So the dad, Bjorn, is having a little, I think it's Bjorn.
But I always, even still, I had a weird feeling about the Dutch guy, the father. I always just, there was something not right for me. Like, from the first time he opened his mouth, I just was like,
For me, the red flags came because he was far too charming.
Because
he was very flattering.
They mentioned
he was saying really nice things. He's like, "Oh, you're a hero."
Yeah, hero for bringing the bunny back.
Yeah.
Like the child
lost the bunny.
And
went and got the bunny.
But he said it in a way that was almost like, was he being sarcastic? And
No.
I was like, I don't like people like that that are like too over the top with their compliments, you know.
For me, I've had to learn the hard way that people who are really big with the compliments and the flattery from the get-go are quite often very dangerous people. So for me, there were red flags immediately.
Yeah.
But this is about what it's like to be gaslit. I think it's shows that really, really well. It's about what it's like to be manipulated by people who really know what they're doing. It's about, a lot of it I think is about class issues, because initially, and I wonder if this is why, the Danish couple think, oh well, so the Dutch fella says that he
is a doctor.
So, and the Danish couple are quite well off, and they think, oh, he's a doctor. So they're kind of like, I guess they think he's as rich as they are because they're quite well off. That's kind of
they're having a dinner with some of their friends before they go and visit them, and they're like, oh, we've been invited by this doctor to go. It's like a big deal, you know.
So the sort of people that are going to be like, they're charmed by the flattery, you know, that's been sort of, they've both gotten, you know, this kind of promise of like a connection, and that we're staying with a doctor, you know, that they'll be staying in a nice place. But when they get there, it's pretty run down, it's pretty dingy, and it's like, you're a doctor. And of course, this couple is like, I guess, lower class, so they're not quite as refined as their friends. Their friends are very like uptight and perfectly presented, and they make polite conversation. You can just see like the discomfort immediately starting to set in. There's no special room set aside for the daughter. There's just like a mattress on the floor for the daughter to stay in. They kind of want to leave immediately. They're not really enjoying it, and they go to leave, but they end up having to come back, and they just keep getting talked into staying.
There is some humour in
talked.
This film as well.
There are definitely some very dark humour. They go out for a meal, and then the Dutch parents, the guy, he sort of like kind of like goes, oh, you're going to pay for it, you know. And that's funny actually, because there is one thing I've heard about the Dutch, that they are really stingy. They are like notoriously stingy. The Danish not so much, but the Dutch apparently came up with a spatula, which is like, that is, I love spatulas.
Scraping the pot
because they're stingy, so they want to get every little part of, and I don't know if that's true or not, but like whatever is, that's associated with the Dutch. The Dutch are notoriously stingy, so they kind of talk, you know, sort of gently coerce the Danish couple into sort of paying for this meal and this night out. But there's a few things that the Danish couple do that aren't like how they're getting manipulated. There's a scene where so what's his name? Sorry, that we've got the Patrick, the Dutch guy walks in while Louise is having a shower, and she's kind of creeped out, and they can't really see each other. But then after that, she ends up kind of boning her husband. Yeah,
there's a very weird sex scene.
Really?
And she ignores her child's yelling.
Being like,
you know?
Mom, where are you?
That's very strange.
That was weird.
You know, people do act in weird ways in real life, so it could be quite realistic. in some ways.
It might be like that little bit of a thrill, you know, that Alyssa's thing
Maybe.
of like, I don't know. Like, I think that they're a bit drunk, they've had a night out.
Yeah.
But I thought that was kind of weird. Yeah, that was a bit, it was really, really uncomfortable to think about these people boning in this weird people's house with their daughter, like, asking for them. I thought that was weird. But, you know, people do weird things, as you say.
They do.
Yeah, and like, you know, like I think you said you thought it was a lot about like our relationship is kind of falling
Breakdown.
apart.
Yeah, it's a breakdown of marriage in some ways, I think. So, I mean, they would a lot of
Danish
things.
couple, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of things happen. I mean, we're seeing this. We're seeing the story sort of unravel through their eyes, really, and it's they kind of do things that usually you would tell your partner about, things that you're going through, but the guy especially doesn't talk to his wife, and there's a point sort of about 2/3 through the movie where, in my eyes, a relationship would be over by that point, because it's just like you've gone through such sort of heavy stuff that you should have talked about it, really.
Yeah.
And they don't, and it's like,
and they make some really massive, the ways that they want to do things are very, very, very different. So, you know, Louise wants to leave.
Yeah, you see their
Bjorn
true
doesn't.
colours, really.
So, yeah. It's like you can see that conflict. Something's not quite right with their relationship. On the outside, it seems fine.
I totally could not connect with that guy, really.
Which one?
The Danish
Bjorn,
guy.
The Danish guy. Bjorn.
Yeah.
Bjorn. Yeah,
I mean, with some things, I don't, you know, I'm quite polite, so I could connect in that way. But pretty much everything else he did, I wouldn't have done any of those things if I was in that situation.
I think it's also about people who ignore their instincts.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to be polite.
Yeah.
Or maybe they think there's a cultural difference that they need to respect. But yeah, I think a lot of this is about like your instincts, how you respond to certain situations, how easy it is to be manipulated, especially for a certain sort of person. So I thought the ending was realistic. I think what happened with the parents, you know, kind of through the whole damn film, they're getting pushed around and manipulated and getting told to do things. And so it's like at the end when they're not fighting back, well, really, did you watch the film? Because that's kind of what's been happening the whole time.
Yeah.
So I just don't understand that train of logic and that train of thought. And the ending is very abrupt.
The title is almost a play on words, really. Like, I mean, there's something that we can't really give away that happens to one of the characters. There's a big part of the title, but I mean, you know, like it's about the parents not talking.
Yeah, and not being able to say anything negative.
Yeah.
And there's the culture of toxic positivity that I personally can't stand, where everyone's like, my life is wonderful all the time, you should just be happy. Don't take antidepressants, go for a walk in the forest. It's like, shut the fuck up, seriously, because toxic positivity is a thing, and it kind of is like that in this movie. Like they can't.
Well, it's online, especially like with influencers and stuff. Hope we don't come across as too positive, and nobody is.
I don't think we do. We're very like realistic. So I think, yeah, I can understand. I think this is a realistic film, though. Even though it is just a movie, I still think this is a realistic way that some people definitely behave. There's a sort of there's different types of people in this world, and certain types of people can totally get themselves in this situation. And the sort of things that happen would totally happen. I found it quite realistic, to be honest, because I've certainly been a bit of a pushover myself in the past and just put up with some stuff that I'm total shock that I ever did. And there's certainly plenty of people out there like that. A bit naive, a bit easily pushed around. It took a lot for me to get a backbone, but I have it now. No one's taking it away from me ever again.
Good.
Yes. Yeah. Woe betide anyone who tries to cross me these days. Yeah, I don't fight. I just get the hell away. I'm just like, all right, you can keep your bullshit over there, and I'm gonna go. Yeah, the first sign of trouble, I'm out skis. Like red flags. Yeah, I don't need to. It's like some people just give other people, so many chances. And I don't think they should. I think, if you see trouble and you know it's not you, and, you try to, and if you talk about it and it's still not getting resolved, you still feel uncomfortable, just don't stick around.
Get the fuck out of there.
I don't really, I don't know, who cares about, I don't really care about people like me or having lots of friends. I've got enough friends, I'm good. It's just weird what people will put up with for social niceties. So that's something that I really appreciate this film investigating, and it's something that I find odd. It's just that weird thing about human nature.
Yeah, I loved this film.
Yeah, it was very disturbing and really upsetting, but I really liked it. But yeah, if you like classic horror, you're going to have to be patient and not expect your classic horror at all.
No.
And yeah, if you don't like stuff that will really, it's just a lot. Don't watch it. No. Don't, because it's pretty extreme. So I think it's we'll rate it.
Be prepared to be a bit shaken afterwards.
Yeah, be prepared to be shaken.
I saw this just after my recent operation, and we weren't watching it together, and I was so excited to come back and watch this with Hannah. So watch this with someone you love.
Yeah, and if you've got young children, you might want to skip this. It might be a bit much, you know. Just a bit.
Well, it's probably a better reason to watch it if you do.
Maybe.
But you know, don't watch it with them. Please don't.
Please don't. Okay, so I guess we're going to rate this now, and then we'll give some spoilers.
Yeah.
Okay, so what would you give it out of 5 hearts?
I would give it, I'd give it a 9 out of 10, so I'd probably give it a 4.5.
4.5. Yeah. Yeah, there's not many films that can get to me like that. It's pretty amazing. So
yeah.
I guess I'd give it a 4.5. So I think we'd give it 9 out of 10 hearts, which is a big score from us. But there's not very often when a film can come along and smack you in the face like this.
That's what it does.
And I was fully engaged the whole time. I wasn't bored for a second. Like, I was, really like, what is going on here? Okay, now, this is when we're going to do the spoilers, so stop watching. Stop watching unless you want it spoiled.
So, sticks and stones.
Oh my god! Okay, so there's some biblical shit going down in this film, okay? Like, what? Okay, so...
That's what I saw lots of comments today. Why wouldn't you fight back at the ending? Like the stones, when they were throwing the stones, why I would fight back? Well, they were kind of like in this little, they were like miles away,
so you couldn't herded.
Yeah,
but they took off their clothes. They were told to take off their clothes. They took off their clothes. They were like herded into this quarry. The rocks got chucked to them. They just were, But that's the thing. They were like lambs to the slaughter, and they were being.
And didn't he have a gun though, or something?
I don't think he even had a gun. Oh, maybe he did a gun. They at least had a knife.
He
definitely had a knife.
He's very threatening, that guy.
He is a scary.
And yeah, the
guy.
class thing totally comes into it. You find out that he's not a doctor, and that he's like
he's lying.
He's always been on a benefit. And he's
doesn't believe in working.
And
well, neither do we.
You're like, so you can see the class differences there, really, and you can kind of see in a way not why he's been acting like that, but it's it's quite an eye-opening thing when you find that out. It's like, wow.
He just says his wife's like, oh, he sometimes feels insecure around other people, so he just tells them that he's a doctor. Yeah,
it's funny when he says, I'd never said I was a doctor, or what did he say? Like, there's that.
Yeah, something like that. He's gaslighting them.
Yeah.
And holy moly, so it's really well done in that it's not too sinister. Like, you're kind of getting gaslit as an audience. I mean, not me. I was like, I would be out of there. There is something so wrong here. But yeah, a lot of people, they're pushing past their instincts. They're pushing past their, like, we should get the hell out, and sticking around because they're so charming and manipulative. The other couple, the Dutch couple, totally are. So, yeah, all of a sudden, so there's this really horrible scene where the kids are, like, putting on a performance for the parents, and the father starts, like, losing his shit at his kid. And it is so horrible and so uncomfortable, and it just broke my heart. Like, it was a really brutal scene. And it just goes way too far, but they're still sticking around, The child has no tongue. And straight away I was like, that kid had his tongue cut out. Like, come on. Come on. He's like, and you can see his tongue's like cut out. It's not a congenial thing.
He wants to show him that his tongue's been cut out.
Yeah. So I don't know why you wouldn't look at that and think that tongue has been cut. I mean, that ties
what the fuck did you do to this kid? Yeah,
what's going on with this kid? But speak no evil, tongue cut out. So, and the whole this couple are serial killers. They've got a house, like a barn or like a garage or something, where like they've got all the luggage and the jewelry, the trophies, definitely, and photos. Yeah. Oh, the photos are haunting. Now, this is what I loved about this film because of the serial killer, story building. I would have loved to have seen even more of this, but this couple, man, this is what they do. They go on holidays, they meet couples with a child and another couple with a child. They target couples with one child, and then you'll see like a photo of the Dutch couple with the really miserable looking child with their new friends, the whatever couple with their happy looking child, and then you see that they take that child, the miserable looking child is no longer there, and something is very, very, very wrong. And it's just so well done, like it just, ooh, you know.
So dear Agnes becomes the new child.
Becomes the new child.
Luring thing, object.
So this is something that they do. So they obviously have a lot of success with it. This is one of the most interesting serial killer movies ever, and there have been couples that do stuff like this. There are some serial killers that are couples. Oh, it's so
it's usually the guy that's sort of in charge that like you know, like I'm thinking that British couple that they lure people in, and there's a
Aussie couple and American
there's an Australian
couple.
film, the Hounds of Love. Weird. But I think that's based on, like, I think I watched an interview, and I think he said that it was based, there wasn't an Australian couple that did that, but I think it was like actually like a Danish couple or something like that, some European couple that he based it on.
So yeah, that stuff was great. The reveal was fantastic, and yeah, when the little daughter they grab the daughter, and there's these scissors that have been brought up before, Chekhov's scissors in the garden, and yeah, the poor little kid gets her tongue cut out right there in front of the parents in a car, and the dad's reaction is he just vomits everywhere, and I was like, that is a realistic response to something like that. Like, he's obviously, like, his adrenaline is going crazy, he's like freaking out, but his response is just like, you know, he couldn't fight, he couldn't flight, he couldn't freeze, he just vomits, and it's just so like, the impact of him vomiting while after that happens, and like the atmosphere is just like, you know, wow, like that was so well done, and I thought that was really realistic. And yeah, when they're like stripping, you know, they're taking the daughter away, this creepy guy that was babysitting the daughter, like this is another thing that happens in the film. Some random creepy guy comes, like fully grown man, comes over to babysit the kids on their night out, and I'm like, he seems
like he's had a lot of experience with kids, and of course he has, because all those kids that have done that
because he's obviously like one of their like
he's like the third secret weapon, you know.
He works with them, and God only knows what he does to these kids. But if someone was like, some weird people that I was staying with are like, your kid's gonna stay with some random guy that's like fully grown, I don't care how sweet he seems.
The dinner we're going to,
it's
not for kids. The kids are staying home.
Anymore. Oh, it's just so like, just all of a sudden, like the kids are all excited to go out, but then they're like, no, the kid's staying at home. Ooh, but yeah, this is the final scene where they're taking off their clothes and doing what they're told, and they ask the Dutch couple, why are you doing this?
Because you let us.
Because you let us.
Yeah.
So that's
the gist of the film, really.
That's the gist of the film. Anyone who's like, why didn't they fight back? Because they wouldn't. Because they kept letting this couple do this to them. Yeah. And unfortunately, it does happen, and serial killers take advantage of the fact that a lot of people are helpful and good.
Yeah.
They are. Like, some guy with his arm in a sling helps me to ask, can you please help me move something? I'm like, hell no. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah,
sorry.
Ted Bundy.
I don't care if I'm a dick, but I'm not going to do that, because serial killers will often, you know, they'll do things like that. They'll be like, oh, my arm is hurt. Can you help me with something? I'm like, nah. Some people are very altruistic, and they're very good people, and they'll just do things to help others out. And I generally won't help people out unless I know them really well. You know, I just, nah. I mean, that makes me a dick. That's fine, because I've survived this long. So there's that. But yeah, I just thought that's how spoilery, but I just don't see how there could be much criticism about how the parents behaved, because I think that's exactly how they would have responded to that situation. And yeah, no, that, man, I think I even cried. I think I was shaking a bit. I really was very disturbed. Like, it's very rare that a film can make me. Yeah, no, I was so like disturbed by the way it was done.
You'll have a physical reaction to this film, for sure.
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, I love that. I mean, I kind of want to have a physical reaction. I want to be shaken up. And this certainly did that.
Not every day.
But not every day, no. I couldn't watch films like this. Like, I personally don't really like films that have excessive cruelty or torture, like Funny Games and movies like that. I'm not a fan of them.
This is one of the good ones, really.
This is good.
There's other things happening. It's not like a Serbian film or something.
Oh, I hated that movie. Like,
that's just so silly, though. No, but badly directed.
But the scene, like everyone says, is like, you know, the worst scene. Like, that seemed very fake. But there's another scene towards the end where it's involving two butts under sheets, and I just, nah. Fuck that movie. That movie is horrible. because Dick was convincing me, oh, it's just silly, it's just fake. So I was like, fine, I'll watch it.
Well,
And then I was like, no, I hate this movie. I should have stuck to my guns and never watched that freaking movie. I just despised it. It's one of the films that I absolutely hate. Well, yeah, you know that
I just saw it as
games
like a real modern exploitation film that was quite low budget and quite sort of, so over the top that it was quite silly.
No, it wasn't silly. It was fucked up and mean, and I didn't like it. And I really didn't like Funny Games either. Like, I just don't like those
see,
kind
I
of
can
films.
handle those sort of films. Not that I like them. They're definitely not my favourite films or anything, but, they're interesting to watch.
I do think this film is definitely way better than those, and that
I prefer The Piano Teacher. I think that's quite a special film because of the performance.
Yeah, that movie messed me up also, but I do really like that film. It's Isabelle Huppert. You can't really go wrong. Yeah, it's a little bit similar to that as well.
We need to watch White Ribbon by the same director. That's less. It's still intense, but less. It's a beautiful film, and
you can't fault the acting and the cinematography in that film.
The White Ribbon, I was just going to say, almost looks a little bit like Tarkovsky's first two black and white films. So, and Michael Haneke is a huge Tarkovsky fan. So, his favourite film of all time is Mirror, I think. So yeah, we should watch that.
Why is he so cruel and he loves such good cinema? But yeah, no, he's a great director. So this one, yeah, like if you don't like really cruel films like me, but you really like a good psychological film, I don't know. Yeah. I thought I liked it. It was good. I didn't like it, as in like I didn't.
You didn't like what was happening.
I didn't like what was happening, but it's so well done. I can't deny that. And
it's only the ending, really, that the cruel stuff, really cruel stuff is happening. So.
And it's amazing that it goes so long without anything. But I loved that as well.
Yeah.
I just think it was a cut above, and it was shocking, and it just felt like I'd been punched.
The suspense is increasingly building up in a way, almost very different films, but almost like Mother, and where it's very.
That is an intense movie.
Yeah. Oh, I love Mother. That's one of my favourite modern films, really.
I love it, but some of the sounds.
Yeah.
Especially towards the end, like I can't.
The chewing.
I can't. The crunching. Yeah. So yeah. Very. Yeah. So that's how spoilery, but mounting tension, so well done. But yeah, really, really, really disturbing, genuinely. And I don't want to watch stuff like that very often, and I don't like stuff like this very often, but this one does it well, is my conclusion, I suppose.
So next time we're going to do another top 10 video, and we're going to look at top 10 crime films of all time.
Yes.
And there are lots of good crime films. I've been working on my list, and I've realised how much the crime genre has become a big part of sort of my cinema loving in general. There are so many good crime films, actually. There are a lot of shitty, real macho kind of ones, but there are a lot of sort of lesser known ones that are really, really cool. So can't wait to share my list with you.
Yeah, and we did a really cool top 10 Storm movies, and we're still struggling to download it. Upload it and download it and get it edited. But
hopefully it will work. Because I really loved doing that video. Actually, it's like an hour long. This is 30 minutes long. So yeah, we do some long videos. That's just what we do.
Yeah, but we were going to edit it, and it was going to be cool, but we're just going to have to wait a little bit longer. So we just have to wait. So we thought we'd do a quick-ish one with this one, because we just need to get this film out of our heads and into this realm. Because
so crime film is coming up very soon.
Yes, and that will be joyful and fun. Well, not really, but compared to this
lots
film,
of crime.
Like the thing is, a lot of films just inherently have crime in them. Like that's kind of the essence of drama and conflict. So.
As one of the characters in Repo Man says, standing in a what is it? Sort of a night gas station or something. Yeah. Let's go do some crimes.
Let's go do some crimes.
See you later.
See you later. Bye. Oh, come on. Turn off. Okay, I'm just gonna do it like this.